seed funding, and access to Africa's most powerful health ecosystem. Your startup could be the answer Africa is waiting for. Apply now.
Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second info session of the Africa Health-Tech Accelerator program. My name is Lubna Shihabi, and I'm delighted to host today's session on behalf of the Africa Health-Tech Accelerator team. So today's session focuses on data and intelligent technologies, one of the most promising areas driving the future of healthcare innovation across Africa. The info session is part of the Africa Health-Tech Accelerator program that is endorsed by the UPA and co-hosted by the Africa CDC and the Africa Health ExCon. The program is designed to support innovative startups who are building impactful healthcare solutions across the continent. We are very pleased to have you all joining us today. And before we begin, if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to share them in the chat box. We will collect them throughout the session and we will address them during the Q&A part at the end. Now, let me briefly walk you through today's agenda. So in today's session, we will give you a more of a closer look at the Accelerator program, while also hearing real insights from experts across healthcare technology and business. So we will begin with a keynote address and program overview, followed by a TED Talk and a business talk. We will then move into our discussion before closing with a quick walkthrough of how to apply and a Q&A session. So to begin, it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Hisham Wahbi, CEO of Cultiv, who will deliver today's keynote address and walk us through the accelerator vision, structure, and what participating startups can expect. So Hisham, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lubna. Good evening or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are. It is really my honor and my pleasure to be with you here today and to present to you the Africa Health-Tech Accelerator. We are very excited about this program. We believe it will be a game changer for the health tech industry in Africa. We had a very lively and interesting discussion with a number of speakers in the last session on Monday, and we will be continuing this conversation with a number of very distinguished and gracious speakers today from Egypt and from the US. So it is really a pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed the session today. So let me jump in and give you a brief overview about the Africa Health-Tech Accelerator. This program is planned and intended to be Africa's leading health tech accelerator. We hope it will be as inclusive as possible, and it will bring on board the full ecosystem of healthcare across Africa. We believe this program is able to do this and is enabled by the Africa Health ExCon ecosystem being affiliated with it, as well as the team of partners who deliver this program have an experience in tech startup acceleration, as well as access to a regional and global experts network. And we will see today a number of people from this network. Our long-term vision for this program, this is going to be the first cycle of the program starting in 2026 and continue to be an annual program. We plan to launch as part of it an Africa Health Innovation Index and to build a platform for collaboration and partnership between startups, corporations, and healthcare industry players. The scope of this program, the health tech, as we define it, is summarized into 4 main areas: digital healthcare solutions, which includes digital transformation, electronic health records, hospital management systems, etc. as well as data and intelligent technologies, including, of course, the use of AI and big data analytics, use of AI in patient monitoring and in diagnosis and so on. And then the third area is the medical and pharmaceutical innovation sector, which includes medical devices, drug development, and so on. And finally, the infrastructure side of access, prevention, and health services, including health insurance, health financing technologies, preventive health and wellness technologies. So why an accelerator? We believe that this is the best model to start with. Our intention is to build a full ecosystem of support for innovators and entrepreneurs in the healthcare sector. The accelerator, as a starting point, will bring on board early stage startups who are ready to scale and provide mentoring and training and help them to prepare to be investment ready and connect them to partners and investors and healthcare industry. So in this format, we're able to deliver the full program online. There will be a number of physical sessions, but the majority of the program will be held online, and this would be the best way to be as inclusive as possible for the entirety of the African continent. What makes this program different? It is health only focused. It is policy connected because of the partners behind it, and it is market driven because of the very experienced and connected mentors and partners who will be coming on board to provide their support. The target audience for this program is health tech startups and SMEs who are developing a new product with the intention of scaling across Africa. We're looking for teams of 2 or more founders. You can still apply if you're only one founder, but the intention is to help you build a team of at least 2 founders. We're looking for early stage startups and a commitment, of course, to the program, which we will be talking about. The program's selection and judging criteria encompass, there's a big focus, of course, on the team and the commitment. And in addition to that, the opportunity, the scalability of the business idea, the progress to date, and potential market size. And finally, the impact of your solution suggested. And this will be applied in slightly different ways in the selection and in the judging as we go along the program. The program includes 6 main components: structured training, one-on-one mentoring, seed funding, assessment throughout the program at different milestones using an assessment tool, and access to the network and ecosystem of the Africa Health ExCon, and a final demo day in which startups will have the opportunity to present their demo in front of an audience of experts, business people, and investors. The timeline of the program is as follows. We are now already open for applications. Applications are open until the ExCon event to be held in June. And after the event, we will have a 1-month boot camp. This boot camp, we will select out of the applicants 30 to 50 startups to join this boot camp. At the end of the boot camp, there will be a filtration and a selection for the continuing startups throughout the rest of the program. We will select 12 to 15 startups, and eventually later down the road, we will also filter them down to 10 final startups to receive seed funding and to be prepared to present at the final demo day at the end of the program. The program curriculum is very comprehensive and very interesting. It encompasses 3 main tracks. The business track or startup essentials track. So we will be talking about different aspects of how to start a company, and as well as the health tech track, which includes the healthcare industry part and the technology part. And this will be throughout the 6 months, as you can see, touching on everything you need to build a successful company. The core of a program like this is always the mentoring, and we are bringing to this program a very valuable network of mentors and experts to support the startups. The mentors will provide you with strategic guidance, sector expertise, market access, and access to their professional networks. Mentors will be working with the startups in several formats as trainers and during the sessions, as well as rotational mentors spending time with each startup to provide their expertise in breakout rooms. And finally, the final 10 startups will be each allocated a dedicated mentor who will be meeting with them on a bi-weekly basis to guide them as they follow the journey of their startup. We will be using an AI-based tool to assess the startups at different stages in the very beginning and in 2 intermediate steps in the middle at each filtration and at the end as well, so we can measure the real impact that this program has provided to the startups. And in addition to that, it will help us to plan with you an action plan of what items we need to focus on throughout the journey as part of the accelerator. The program will end with a final pitching event. It will be held physically, in which you can present in front of a very diverse audience of investors, business people, people from the healthcare industry, for opportunities of finding clients, business partners, and investors. In addition to this, we are delighted that the program is supported by a global strategic network, which we have been building, and you will see today one of the key people helping us to build this, Dr. Ahmad Zafaran. The idea behind this is that it's not only Africans or people based in Africa who are interested in enabling African startups. There are many experts around the world who have an interest and affinity with the continent and would like to provide their expertise and support, and at the same time be part of the conversation of how we can enable Africa and be investors in some of the companies. So we are plan to build regional hubs within Africa, and a hub in the US, and a hub in the Middle East, and a hub in Europe of experts, investors, and others who will be we will be bringing on to provide support as needed.
Thank you, Hisham, for setting the stage so clearly and sharing the vision behind the accelerator. And we now move into our TikTok, where we explore how data and intelligent technologies are shaping the future of the healthcare sector. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Wael Wahabi to share his insights with us today. Dr. Wael is a lecturer of internal medicine at Cairo University. He's also a co-founder of Yashfi and Thotron. Dr. Wael, over to you.
Good evening. Thank you very much for this kind invitation. It is my pleasure to participate in this great event. First of all, I would like to emphasize how much AI thinking and human minds are so similar. I'm a doctor, by the way, so I've been studying the human mind, and recently I've been also studying artificial intelligence in the past 7 years because of my interest in tech. So basically, AI has never been able to advance so much, except after they copied what we have been learning from human brains in terms of how brains are divided into small units called neurons, and how these neurons are so interconnected. Each part of a neuron has, this is a microscopic level zoom on neurons, and they show gates which have like zeros and ones, which are very similar to the zeros and ones of computers. And in the end, you have a group of points that are connected. So basically, we can get so much inspired by studying the human brain more deeply. And I have had the pleasure to participate in teaching AI students. Teaching AI students how to understand the human brain, and teaching medical students how to understand artificial intelligence. So basically, you have the input layers and hidden layers for processing inside. This is an artificial neural network, for example, and then you have an outer layer which takes out your outputs. you also and they also use the same even terminology. Like every point, they call it a neuron, copying neurons, the same terminology in human brains. And only by doing this layered approach, where there are different weights between different points. So basically, to simplify, where you have an input that is processed by some layers in the middle, and then you have an output at the other end, only by copying this structure did AI manage to advance. So I've been also honored to participate in trying to bridge this gap. So we identified a very big gap between AI experts and students on one hand, and medical experts and students on the other hand, in academia on one hand, on one, like one side. And there's also a very big gap between the academia and the private sector and international partners. So what I'm happy to have to use this opportunity to emphasize how much we have a problem with these islands that are not connected, and how much there is an opportunity available to connect these people. So by connecting these different entities, you can unleash an amazing amount of AI innovation by having some sort of collaboration and building AI innovation ecosystems. And this is not something that I'm talking about like theoretically. We have been actually participating with a group of partners in like a production line of ideas, from taking people from ideas to the end customer. And we have it is our pleasure to collaborate with Cultiv regarding this issue. I've been actually also involved with Cairo University. Cairo University is the biggest hospital in Egypt and the Middle East in terms of the numbers of patients, but not in terms of the numbers of beds or resources. So this is a big challenge. And I've been participating with a group of students and colleagues in a big project. And all of the things I'm going to talk to you about today are realistic projects that can be implemented in Cairo University, where I work, and can also be replicated in any place in Africa. So back to the tech point of view, basically, artificial intelligence is copying of human intelligence. So how do you apply this to healthcare? So basically, what do doctors do? They read histories of patients, they look at lab results, and they think about it, and they start to, based on this, write their own recommendations. The recommendation could be a lab, do this lab, do this X-ray, take this drug. So what the most important part of artificial intelligence in healthcare, the core part of AI, application AI in healthcare, is in clinical decision support systems, a group of systems that basically copy humans. They look at the same data, examination lab radiology data, either alone, or like radiology data alone, or lab data alone, or a combination of them. And then these AI models start to recommend things, either recommending prescriptions, or sometimes just recommending diagnoses. The most simple type of AI is what they call rule-based clinical decision support systems, where you get a group of experts who sit together and write a group of rules. These rules can then be digitized. You can create like many types of flowcharts, and these flowcharts can then be implemented in a clickable digital system, where you can basically click on and approve a group of recommendations that are based on your rules. As you can see here, these are a group of labs that have been recommended. They never appear in the prescription unless the doctor reviews everything and starts to approve all of the recommendations. This is the most simple type of AI, but nevertheless, it's very important. So, for example, the Egyptian Health Council have Egyptian national guidelines, and we have been working with a team who converted some of the text of these guidelines into flowcharts and basically laying the groundwork for automatic prescriptions. But all of this is still the most simple type of AI, what they call rule-based AI. But what about if we don't ask experts to write the rules? How can AI work in these instances? I like to look at this like we look at babies who are learning, who hear a lot of inputs and then start to speak. You never teach them the laws. You don't tell them that there are 26 letters in the alphabet and that there's an M and there's an A. But what happens is that this child starts to create his own rules by what he hears or what it feels, what the baby sees. And after some processing, you can get amazed by what these babies are able to do. Whether in this case, they are afraid of something that's not real or something that's real. By combining lots of types of inputs, the visual, the sound, etc., they start to make decisions. So machine learning is the more advanced type of artificial intelligence. And in machine learning, the machine learns itself like this baby. And machine learning has never been able to advance enough except after they copied the human brain, as I said, in connected layers. And this is exactly what they call deep learning. And generative AI is just a subset of deep learning. Generative AI, which generates text like ChatGPT, the revolution of the large language models, including ChatGPT, DeepSeek, etc. All of these are types of generative AI which generate things. And again, this is a subset of deep learning. And this has been the timeline of the development of AI. So what can we learn from this regarding Africa? The most important lesson that I think we should learn is specialization. So for example, there is a very specific type of patient, chronic kidney disease patient, CKD patients. He has renal disease, and he also has anemia, which is deficiency of the hemoglobin, which carries oxygen to the tissues. If you try to apply a large language model like ChatGPT, you try to ask ChatGPT about or something more specialized like Biomistral or something, you're going to have a problem because every single patient has his own pattern. This patient, for example, patient 1, receiving this dose of erythropoietin, the hormone which treats the deficiency of hemoglobin, will get a big rise, whereas another patient will get a much smaller rise in hemoglobin as a response to this drug. So does one size fit all? The answer is, of course not. And the issue is that you need to have access to very, very specialized data to be able to give these prescriptions. If you try to import a model from USA and try to use it in Africa, you're going to have many problems. First of all, you won't have a model that, if you try to use a general model like ChatGPT, it's not going to be very specialized. It's not going to give you good results because it's not trained on this type of patient specifically. It has data about billions of patients, but not organized and not specifically used to train a model to give this exact, accurate dose of erythropoietin drug, this specific drug. The second problem you're going to have, even if you get a specialized model from Europe, from France, whatever, it's not going to be trained on your own data, on your own Egyptian, on your own Nigerian, your own Kenyan data, because every single ethnicity, every single race could have a very different response to your drugs. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to personalize medicine very much. I just gave this example, but there are many other examples. In this example specifically, when we used artificial intelligence models, as you can see, this pale part is the target. Achievement of target is hemoglobin 10 to 12. For example, here you can see 60s and 50s and 60% in terms of target achievement. After AI, you reach something like 74% target achievement. And this can only happen if you customize and train models specifically on your types of patients. Again, in computer vision is one of the areas where you got a very big advancement in the last years. It started in California, and we have a pleasure of having our dear guest from California, Dr. Ahmed Zafran. This was one of the first experiments where they trained an AI model on using deep learning on identifying X-rays. And since that time, the revolution started. It started with X-rays, with accuracies of AI winning. AI accuracy in this experiment in Stanford, AI actually got a better accuracy. And since then, it has been applied on so many other different types of AI models. I'll give you an example. that we've been working on in Cairo University, we've been working on pelvic fractures. This is a team of AI students with two professors, Professor Dr. Fuad Zamil and Professor Dr. Hamad Yunus, and they had to meet for almost a year, weekly, for them to deeply examine the different types of fractures and bone and different lines of fractures, etc. The AI students had to understand some medicine for them to be able to customize this computer vision model to start to diagnose pelvic fractures. And you can apply this on many other different fields, including this is when we were collecting data from a private hospital to be able to customize some nephrology AI models. So the message I'm trying to send here is that there's a very big opportunity and very big room for so many research teams from all over the world to each design their own very unique AI product. Because there are so many subspecialties. In this example, we used optical character recognition in a very specific application, extracting data from the screens of machines, the machines doing dialysis for patients, because we don't have the module that integrates this data with the other computer systems. And this is a very common problem in Africa, where there's a technological solution that's easy and excellent, but it's not available. It's too expensive. So you have to also look for ways to customize AI use to your specific needs and your specific challenges. AI has opened horizons for so many types of data, and each type of data needs a team and needs a startup to work on to optimize and train the AI models on this specific type of data. Multidimensional data is a very nice term. It simply just points to that every single patient could have many different data points associated with him. If each patient could have lots of words associated with him, lots of numbers associated with him or with her, lots of images associated with him or her. So every single image needs to be converted into digital data, and all of this data needs to be used for training AI models in your specific country in Africa for you to be able to create a unique product. In this arena, you're not competing, the foreign companies are not able to compete with you because they don't have your local data. Only you can create a model that is so accurate, so accurately designed and customized to your own set of multidimensional data of your own group of patients. One of the big revolutions that has been happening in AI is the use of what they call multimodal large language models. So basically, they are models that consume different types of different data types, text, images, different types of images, radiology, pictures of skin, pictures of slides, and then you can feed all of this data into a single model. For example, MedGemma is a model made by Google, customized for medical data, and it can consume all of this data and give you a diagnosis. There's a lot of technology involved in different techniques used to combine these different types of data. And the accuracies of these multimodal large language models is very promising. Here you can have like close to 90% accuracy in terms of answering specifically designed medical QA question answer data sets. So in the end, to summarize, what my message is that there is a very big opportunity to use these many different types of models. Although the large language models are the most high tech, the things that got the most buzz and they got very famous, but sometimes rule-based algorithms are better because they are more customized and more predictable. You can create your own rules, and you are sure that this is going to be the output always from this type of patient. You also need to use some specialized models, like the examples I told you, trained on very specific types of patients in very specific environments. And the challenge is that you will need to optimize. You can use AI to even optimize your choices between your different types of AI models, so you can serve your patients at the best level. And always you will need to do some sort of feedback loops. You'll need to organize a collection of feedback from different users. so that you can eventually improve. Medical software developers have to talk to users and medical authors to optimize the balance between these different types of algorithms. For example, you may need to optimize and change the rules that you have based on the facts of life. And these feedback loops have been shown to improve the achievements of the 5 rights of clinical decision support systems. Thank you very much. I don't want to take too much of your time, and I will give the mic back to Lubna.
Thank you, Dr. Wael, for those valuable insights. I will reshare my screen now. Just a second. Yes. Thanks again, Dr. Wael. And from
Thank you.
technology, now we can shift to the business side of innovation, growth, and scaling impact in health tech. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Ahmed Zafaran for today's business talk. Dr. Ahmed is a staff anesthesiologist at Washington Health and a partner at Vituity. Dr. Ahmed, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Lubna, and what a wonderful, wonderful presentation by Dr. Wael Wahbi. What we find is that experts like Dr. Wahbi are in the trenches, working incredibly diligently on emerging technologies and where those emerging technologies intersect with clinical medicine. It's an exciting time to be in health tech, to be in healthcare, to be in business. Because we're at a point where emerging technologies are meeting emerging healthcare solutions, whether that's precision-based medicine, personalized care, like Dr. Wahbi had mentioned, or even the type of technologies that are being implemented at the clinical level today, whether that's through translational research that has made its way from the lab to the clinical arena, and then implementation in the clinical arena, to scalable solutions that are built where those two worlds meet. And that's kind of where I come in, and where I'd love to talk to you about where those roads lead to, and how, as founders and startup entrepreneurs, how you can take your ideas, how you can take the work that you've been working on, whether that's been independently in a startup company role, or whether you're building something at the university level and have partnerships with universities and hospitals or hospital systems, how you can take those ideas, translate them into real products, and how those real products can then be scaled and delivered to the end user. And in this case, that's often patients. I'll give you a little bit of background on myself, not for anything other than to give you the insight that somebody like you, who may be a clinician, who may be adjacent, you may not be a physician, but you may be a researcher, a master's scholar, or a PhD. Anything that you're working on today, should have the opportunity to become a business, and that business requires certain fundamental tenets or foundations in order to be successful. So, just a little bit of background on myself. I didn't have any business background. I'm a clinical anesthesiologist. I trained at the Texas Medical Center in Houston, Texas, which is the largest medical center in the world, with institutions like MD Anderson Cancer Center, Memorial Hermann Hospital, some county hospitals such as Ben Taub, LBJ. It's a massive ecosystem for learning, for innovation, and opportunity for learning. I did my clinical training there in the Department of Anesthesiology at University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. And upon completing my training there, I moved to the Silicon Valley, where I joined the faculty at Stanford University School of Medicine and Stanford University Hospitals. Now, again, without any business background, I had the entrepreneurial itch. I had the idea that I want to take any kind of ideas that can benefit society, that can benefit humanity, and create something out of it and know how to commercialize it. So I did what any kind of, excited young entrepreneurial physician would do is I said I should probably get more education. Some of us are married to education in some ways because we just want to keep learning and we actually need to get out there and start building. But I joined a program at Stanford University Business School, Graduate School of Business, on how to take ideas and commercialize them and then build companies out of them. And I think that's really relevant to all of you out there who are in the trenches looking to build sustainable solutions for Africa. And what a wonderful opportunity that is, because Africa is so vast, diverse, and exceedingly full of talent across the entire continent. Having been born in Egypt and having Egyptian heritage, I identify extensively with my African roots and am just delighted and thrilled to share what might be helpful. Now, I have a total of 10 minutes, and we'll have more opportunities to discuss more about this in the future. But I want to talk about a few of the fundamental things that are critical as you start to form your companies and think about what you want to do. Now, starting the company is a different process depending on what country you're in. So you want to ensure that you're following all of the regulatory processes to finding the appropriate governmental agencies to register your company, to ensure that you have the right legal structure in place, and that you have what we call a capitalization table. It doesn't have to be complicated, but you want to understand who owns the company and who doesn't. Why is that important? Some of you may be coming from educational or academic institutions that have very specific guidelines on who owns what, especially if you're using licensed technology or a licensed product that you co-developed or you developed within the structure of the university system. This is something that is very common during my time at Stanford University when entrepreneurs who are physician entrepreneurs or healthcare entrepreneurs are looking to build, but they're building within the Stanford ecosystem. There are certain nuances that you have to be careful of, and you want that to be clear and upfront because you don't realize it now, but it could impact your ability to raise investment funds, venture capital, cleaning up the cap table and knowing exactly who owns what and who owns the patents and the intellectual property are really critical things. Now, the second thing I want to mention is that oftentimes we know exactly what we want to build. We know how to build it. We have the expertise and the insight to go out and build it. And then what we don't realize is that we didn't focus on an audience. We didn't really ask ourselves, is this something that the world needs? Is this something that the world wants? And ultimately, is this something that the world is willing to pay for? And the reason why I say that is that as healthcare scientists or as technologists, we think we know the solution, and oftentimes we do. We build it, we go through the entire iteration of the process from A to Z, and then we show it to people, and they say, "Okay, this is great, but this has no relevance to me." Why is that so important is that prototyping and sharing and knowing your audience, building for an audience that can help you iterate and determine what your product needs to be, how it needs to be delivered. Is it addressing a significant pain point? Is it what we call a painkiller as opposed to a vitamin? Is it solving a fundamental problem within the life sciences space, the health tech ecosystem, digital health? If it is, then you know that you're moving in the right direction. And now you can determine what your total addressable market is and what fraction of that total addressable market you want to try to attain. And at that point, now you know that, hey, I think I can build a business around this. Building a business is fundamentally different than building out technology and innovation. Now, at some point, those roads converge, and when they converge, having the know-it-all to be able to take those ideas, translate that into a business setting, and taking that to build a product that has a market identified to it is really kind of the first step. I know that's a lot to chew on in a very short period of time. I think what might be even more beneficial is if people have questions specifically about the business side of health tech, of digital health, knowing who your audience is, knowing what your product is, knowing what your product roadmap needs to be, attaining capital, which is typically the first and foremost thing that drives founders crazy is, hey, I have this wonderful idea and I want to build this business, but I need the capital to get started. There are so many different ways to go about that we can go through as people progress through the program. What I'll end with is this, and I think it's really important, is that there are so many problems to solve. And one of the most important aspects of emerging technologies in the world today is solving for healthcare. You have more technology in the pocket of your clothes today than you could ever imagine. And with the emergence of AI, things that would take months or years to attain are now being done in days or even minutes. So, more than ever, people who don't have fundamental technology experience, who may be physicians, who may be researchers, who have ideas that weren't able to come to fruition because they didn't have the technical expertise, the playing field is being democratized, the playing field is being leveled. And now more than ever, you can take those ideas and prototype them, bring them to the world in a very short period of time where you can iterate, learn, get feedback, and then build your business. I think this is the most exciting time for Africa. And I'm more than delighted to share whatever kind of expertise that I have to help you as entrepreneurs and innovators to get to the next step and ultimately make a huge impact across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for those valuable reflections on the business aspects. Now we can move into our panel discussion where we bring together our speakers to explore the opportunities, challenges, and the future of data-driven healthcare innovation across Africa. I'm also pleased to welcome our panelist guest, Professor Dr. Rida Al-Khoureibi. He's a former Dean of the Faculty of Computer and Artificial Intelligence at Cairo University, and he joined us for this discussion. I would now like to invite our speakers to join the panel discussion and to moderate the session. I would like to hand it over once again to Hisham Wahbi.
Thank you, Lubna, and thank you for all the speakers. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed Zafaran, and thank you, Dr. Wael Wahbi, for the very valuable presentations that you presented. I think this is an example of the amazing value that exists in the market and in the network that we want to all unite together and do something for Africa. One thing that was mentioned in the last session is the very unique thing about this program is it's one of maybe the first or one of the first at least programs that is designed to address health industry challenges for Africans by Africans. So it's led by a group of African organizations and governments. So I think this is a very unique opportunity that we can all collaborate on. I wanted to get your perspective on each of you. What kind of challenges you think are going to be coming up on the stage over the next couple of years that entrepreneurs should be jumping on and should be looking to how we can solve them. So since Dr. Rida, you just joined us, perhaps we can hear from you first, your perspective, and then hear from our other colleagues. Dr. Rida, are you with us?
Dr. Rida is having some some technical issues. So
sorry to put you on the spot. So perhaps we can hear from you gentlemen first.
Hello.
I think, yeah, he's
Thank
back.
you. Thank you very much for introducing me in this meeting. My comment is that as most of us know, AI is I started in the the middle 1956. The first stage of AI depends on the formal logic. Formal logic as known in philosophy and psychology in the old times takes mathematical formulation which helps in developing systems that seem to be intelligent since it think rationally by logic. But this school of this trend of AI didn't succeed in human tasks like language understanding and understanding of speech and image. So the second era of AI starts with machine learning approaches. Okay, machine learning. I think it. Yeah, we can abstractly say that the machine to be learned is a trial to understand the distribution of, from a statistical perspective, the distribution of several variables. For example, in the medical domain, we have diseases and evidences like the measurement of temperature and the pressure or whatever. These are variables. The diagnosing is built on the joint distribution of these variables, and the decision taken by the doctor in the diagnosing task is to find the probability of the disease given the evidence data like temperature and pressure and etc. This is the form of what we call machine learning, and this is the basis of machine learning in many different tasks like classification and diagnosis. Also, there is a very important branch in AI, which is generative AI. Language generation is the second important half of artificial intelligence, since we need that AI first recognize the inputs, the data, and respond to the environment. This response should be in natural language, understandable by human. So to generate natural languages is the second important task of AI. Deep learning succeeded in this direction. We consider the statements of the language as a very huge number of variables, and the machine learns the joint distribution of these variables. Then the machine uses the sampling techniques to generate what looks like natural language. Today, we have what is called multimodal language models, in which the language is not only text, as we we use, as we understand, language. The language definition is extended to the language of images. When you look at any image, you understand the content of the image by relating the different parts of the image. So we can consider the image as a set of what is called the tokens. Something like words of language. The relation between these tokens are the fundamental basis of understanding the content of the image. So a human relates the parts of the image to each other, and from these relations, he understands what is in the image. I think if we look at what happens to the research AI in the last 5 years or 6 years, is that instead of getting the information by search, Google search, for example, search by keywords or something like this, now we are able to ask questions in natural language. The computer understands what we ask about, and the search does it work as usual by searching the web for the most the most probable answer, the answer that gets highest likelihood. And the generator model, generative model of the AI generates the answer in a natural way. So I am, as a human, I as a human can ask the AI a question in my natural language. What is the meaning of something, or asking a question in any field. The search engine understands what I said and search the web as usual. And instead of giving us the links of the hyperlinks to the answers to the question, it formulates the answers through the generative model. This is our state. I think the self-awareness AI, or what is called I think it is a little bit beyond the real implementation in the near future, but there is might be a problem with understanding the AI. There is a phenomenon called AI effect. When a new product of AI emerges, most of us get surprised of what is introduced by this model. And after a while, after we get used with this model, and we no longer call it AI. Like ChatGPT, at first, it was very surprising. After the use of ChatGPT for some time, most of us discovered that ChatGPT can get wrong answers, can get biased answers. Biasness here is related to what is in the web of the information of the website. So I think we downgrade the GPTs now and it might be at future time. We don't call it real AI. It might the real AI might have more complicated definition in the future, I think.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Reda. Thank you for the nice overview. I relate a lot to what you're talking about because I'm originally a computer engineer as well. A long time ago, I used to work in this field. And back then, when we talked about the neural networks and the machine learning, it was like a dream. And now it's something that has really become mainstream. So it's very interesting. Um Dr. Wael, from your perspective, what kind of things, whether using AI or using other technologies, do you think startups in Africa should be focusing on? What kind of challenges?
So the main challenges in Africa are different to the challenges in US. I think Dr. Ahmed Za'faran, when they are thinking about implementing AI, they already have the digital health systems implemented. All the patients are logged digitally, and they have so much digital data. In Africa, in Egypt, primarily, and I know in many other places in Africa, you don't have digital health records in most of the country. Most of the patients at this moment in Egypt are paper-based. So if you try to implement an an imported solution as it is, you will not succeed. You have to go very deep inside the organizations and think with them how they're going to convert their piles of paper first into some sort of digital record. Are you going to use optical character recognition? Are you going to use some sort of voice to text? What is the transition? You have to think about innovation in transitions, how you can transition from the paper-based solutions. The other thing, the constraint of money, of course. So even if there are good solutions, they may be too expensive for us. So you're going to have to think about how to save costs, how to reduce the size of the AI models, for example, so that they don't consume so much computing power. You're going to have to think about doing local versions of other. You can't use subscriptions that are too expensive, so you're going to have to host the AI model on your own server or something to decrease. You're going to think too much. You're going to think a lot about cost. And on the other hand, this gives you a competitive advantage. It gives local startups a competitive advantage because only they will have the local insights by visiting and by living within these populations, living inside these environments on one hand. And on the other hand, because of the differences in even for example, images, the same type of image, if you take pictures of for example, a certain tumor in Egypt, it can be different than the same images of the same tumor in USA. So it differs by the type of machine. If it's an older machine, you're gonna get a different quality of image. It differs because Egyptian genes are different, for example. So African genes are different than the genes of Europe in general. So any model that has been trained on images in Europe may not function as well in any other African country. So it is a challenge, but at the same time, it's an opportunity because these startups can jump onto very specialized data sets and train their models and get much better accuracies than international models. The main challenge here will be access to digital data, but this can be achieved by lots of partnerships. So I had the pleasure of working with Professor Dr. Rida Al-Khuribi in bridging the gaps between Cairo University Medical School and Cairo University AI School. And we discovered that there are many ways to get data and to get lots of hours out of researchers from things like graduation projects of students, for example. So this only happened because we live inside the environment and we know the challenges, basically.
Thank you, Dr. El. And I think that's a very interesting exercise that you gentlemen have done, where you've bridged the gap, connecting the health side with the tech side, with bringing the faculty of computer science and the faculty of medicine together and doing a joint project. And this is exactly the definition of health tech, I think, and what we want to capitalize on a bit more. Dr. Ahmed, coming back to you, I want to highlight the idea that our board chairman, Dr. Hisham Badr, has suggested, which is building hubs of support networks across the world, starting with one in California. What's your perspective on the program, and what do you think? How do you measure the level of interest and the level of involvement that people from the US might be interested in supporting a program like this and being part of the African health industry going through this transformation?
Yeah, that's a great question, Hisham. And I just want to take a moment to laud and appreciate, the works of Dr. Al-Khoribi and Dr. Wahbi. That kind of collaboration is not as it's more rare than you think it is. And having folks who understand their domain and being able to explain it in ways that are translated and where people can meet in halfway is really where the innovation starts. Because if we don't understand the technology, then we're at a loss. And if we don't understand where that technology can be implemented in the health tech or in the healthcare ecosystem, then we're creating products and solutions that people don't need or aren't asking for. I think sometimes or not sometimes, in the past, the ecosystem in the United States in regards to innovation and building has been more of a closed ecosystem. You have even hubs within the United States where the Silicon Valley is, leading the way, where you have a significant amount of capital located here. You have a significant amount of technology and resources, whether that's in deep tech. The largest, companies in the world are just, down the street from me. And then you also have, institutions like the University of California Health System, UCSF, Stanford. These are all, hubs within a hub where a lot of these ideas can cross-pollinate and be cultivated. With the emergence of generative AI and with the emergence of how quickly the foundational models are growing, the challenge is actually now, is what you're building today obsolete in 3 months? Is it obsolete in 1 month? Because things are moving so fast. As a result, what you're finding is that closed ecosystem is expanding. So even within the United States, you're seeing other hubs like in Texas and in Florida, of course, in Boston, other areas where these ideas are flourishing. They're getting capital, they're getting funded, and companies are starting to be built. With the emergence of AI and also diversification of talent, you're seeing hubs already being built. For instance, in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, where you're finding venture capitalists moving from the United States and actually building funds in those areas. And so what that has also done is it's opened the landscape to African entrepreneurs, Middle Eastern entrepreneurs, the Middle East, North Africa, GCC, where founders or young scientists or entrepreneurs who previously didn't have the opportunity to build and to build quickly and to iterate and to learn whether what they're building is something that the world needs or wants. They're getting that answer much faster. And that answer is not just coming from localized regional hubs. It's coming all the way back to the United States, where there is excitement about what people are building in Africa. And that excitement is being translated in the form of investment dollars. It's being translated into joint collaborations or joint ventures, where universities like Cairo University has the opportunity to collaborate with Stanford University or the University of California healthcare system, because the talent is not it's not allocated in one place. It exists in Africa. It exists in Europe. It exists in the United States. We just have to be ready and have the open mind to determine where this talent is, where these emerging technologies are, where these ideas are coming from, cultivate them, understand what markets would benefit the most from it, ensure that we're moving as quickly as the technology is moving. And I think, just to answer your question that you posed to Dr. Wahbi and Dr. Al-Ghoribi, is that I think one of the biggest challenges is, can we build businesses? Can we build on our ideas at the speed and at the rate at which the technology is rapidly advancing? Because at the end of the day, your idea or your commercialized product or your idea for a commercialized product needs to have what we call a moat, a barrier of entry. Is it unique? Is it something that is not necessarily easily reproducible? And that a lot of times stems on the talent of which is coming out of Africa and the unique problems that you're solving. So I'll end with this: is that I loved what Dr. Wahbi said about solving local problems and solving regional problems, knowing what the issue is. If you're building a technical digital solution and the fundamental issue is that none of that data is digitized to begin with, then you're solving for a problem. You're solving for a problem that you can't solve, essentially. So you have to make sure that what you're building can be implemented in the area of which you're trying to build. And from there, everything else kind of falls into place. So there's a saying, don't put the cart before the horse, which means, don't get too far ahead of yourself. Realize that, you have ideas, that you want to build, understand your audience, utilize your expertise, which you have tremendous amount of expertise in. And then from there, you can build a team around you that will help you get to the next step and ultimately to achieve your goal.
Thank you, Dr. Zafran. Very insightful. Circling back, there's a question that came to my mind, Dr. Rida. I want to ask you about it as someone who has led an academic institution in one of the leading universities. Of course, we know that there's a bit of a challenge with funding for research in universities in, say, Africa and other parts of the world compared to, say, in the US. How much do you see the potential of academic research coming out of the universities becoming commercial innovation, becoming startups? Whether it's in Egypt or in other African universities?
Well, we have an important chance in Cairo University in the collaboration between the different schools. When I was the dean of the Faculty of Computers and Artificial Intelligence at Cairo University, I started talking with the other deans. And I was lucky to meet Dr. Wahbi, which is an exceptional person in the medical school of Cairo University. I think this helps our research greatly in being oriented towards the real problems. Dr. Wahbi, I think, can speak about some graduation projects of our students. And I think we have we have tens of smart students in the faculty that can join the research and innovation while are in the third level or the fourth level of the school. This is plus the graduation projects and the master's and PhD degrees in the faculty of AR. I think to join the external environment should happen through the cooperation between different schools. We have research cooperation with faculty of dentists, dentist and the pharmacy school in Egypt, plus the faculty of medicine. This is the way to bring us to the external I think also the Ministry of Communications has programs in this regard towards funding projects that join universities with industry. This is the opportunities what we have, but I think the starting point to have real research is to cooperate between different schools in the same university or in the universities in Egypt in general. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Reda. So, Dr. Wael, coming back to you, I think you have a lot of interest in the idea of this cross collaboration. How can you see? So we have here Dr. Zafaran, and we hope this becomes a platform for this kind of international cooperation as well. So how do you see the potential for us to build on collaboration between whether it's different universities in different countries and whether it's between faculties? How can entrepreneurs in Africa make use of this?
So thank you very much
Another
again.
part maybe of the question is, what should we, as organizers of the accelerator, try to provide so that this kind of collaboration can happen?
Great. It's a very, very interesting question. I would first like to emphasize how much I learned from Professor Dr. Rida, and having people who are really sincerely working towards improving research is very important. And this is already available. There are so many people who want the students to do useful graduation projects. And I discovered so much potential in these young students. They're like third year students. What specifically we can do, I think one of the things we can do is work towards multi-center research. So just a very simple idea is if I find that I'm suggesting, for example, that we do some sort of an AI model for anemia in chronic kidney disease. That's one of the ideas I talked about today. The same type of patient is surely also present in Stanford with Dr. Ahmed. So it will be very useful for us to collaborate with doctors in Stanford who are ready to collaborate with their own expertise in this area specifically. So, and in this way, we can create AI models that are more generalizable if we train on different multicultural data sets instead of training only on African or Egyptian or US alone. So it could start. It could start with research collaborations. Simple any idea which arises. There are many ideas. So what we can do is create a list of the ideas that are currently in the initiation phase and try to think with Dr. Ahmed Zafran specifically, like open the list and ask him regarding project number one, do you see a do you envision that there could be a multi-center study in this area? And through your participation, Cultive, through your connection with different African countries, it could be easy to recruit if you put the project title and open an invitation for multi-center participation from Nigeria, from Kenya, from any other place which is interested. This is one area, and the result of this multi-center study could be both publishable papers and commercial products. So if this recommender of doses of erythropoietin, for example, could be a commercial product that could be commercialized in different, even in the US. There are lots of AI models that are still not implemented enough. This is one of the AI in nephrology. There are so many different areas that are under researched and underfunded and under investigated. So this could open an opportunity for actually exporting our talent, exporting African working hours, and talent and innovation to the US and back. I think this could be a very important step.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Dr. Ahmed, I have one last question for you. One thing we maybe didn't highlight is, in addition that you have started health tech companies yourself, you have also been involved in organizing similar accelerators for health tech. So this is a very valuable experience for us that we would like to learn from in running this accelerator. And I hope so personally to learn from you about this. What do you see as the potential of these kinds of accelerators, whether in Africa or in other places, of actually making an impact on the world and producing companies that actually succeed? Have you seen what's the percent, or what's the share of companies that actually make this kind of success?
Yeah, what a wonderful question. Accelerators are entirely unique within the startup ecosystem. And the reason why accelerators resonate with me, I do have experience with accelerators. I was part of an accelerator that focused on companies in Spain, particularly in Barcelona, alongside here in Silicon Valley for life sciences companies. And what I learned about accelerators from my time at Spire is that sometimes when you're just getting started, you don't have the network, you don't have the relationships or the experience to know where to get started. And so what accelerators do much differently than incubators or people who are just working on their own is it brings an entire ecosystem of relationships, of helpers, of people who have regulatory experience, investors, and say, okay, you're a part of this accelerator, and what we want to do is we want to accelerate you. We want to give you the rocket fuel to move to the next step. And part of the puzzle, putting the pieces together, the puzzle, is knowing what to do next. Oftentimes, we just don't know what to do as innovators and as founders. And so, being even a part of an accelerator myself or being affiliated with that helped me tremendously to build my own company. And that's ultimately what we want to do, is we want to have a chance to see our ideas become something real. And that's really the most exhilarating part of building, is that you have an idea. That idea you think exists only in your own mind, but the reality is that people want to see that idea come to fruition, to become a real product that can be utilized and to make a difference in the world. So that's really why I feel so passionately about the Africa Health-Tech Accelerator. What you're doing is entirely unique, and each step can have seismic impact, particularly in a continent like Africa that is so diverse. I think we have yet to scratch the surface of the talent and capability of African founders across the continent. And it's an exciting time to build. So for founders who are just getting started, particularly in Africa, to have an accelerator composed and comprised of experts that have built before, that have invested, that have regulatory background, bringing all of those elements together is what's necessary, to get started. And don't feel like you have to jump from A to Z. The reality is it's a journey. And that journey requires time, energy, resources, but also relationships. And you want to build relationships over networking. Networking just means that, hey, I know this person on LinkedIn. Maybe if I send a message to them, they'll help me. It's not, we've all been there, and it doesn't work so well. But to have an accelerator that you have a Hisham Wahbi, or you have a Dr. Wa'il Wahbi, or Lubna, or Dr. Rida, to be able to say, hey, I'm really excited about this idea coming out of Nigeria, or out of Ghana, or out of Kenya, or out of, Mauritania, any of these, South Africa, any of these incredibly rich, intelligent countries that have opportunities to get their ideas out. It's those relationships through the accelerator that's going to take them to the next step. And then at that point, you have to take whatever resources you have and make the most of it. At the end of the day, it's up to you what you make of your opportunity. Nobody can do that for you. But having that opportunity and that first step and knowing what to do next is really the spark that you need to get moving forward. And that's why I'm thrilled, of having been born in Egypt, being, having African roots, being fortunate to be in a technology hub and in a healthcare hub. I'm excited to take whatever resources that I have, any experience that I've built over time, and really implement it and help in whatever way that I can for the Health Tech Accelerator.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. And we look forward to the very valuable insights from all of you. And thank you all, gentlemen, for your time and for your participation today. This has been amazing. And we look forward to continue the conversation as part of the coming orientation sessions and in the program itself. So let's keep working together on this. I will pass it back now to the program manager, Lubna, to tell us some final words about how to apply and to see if there are any questions. Lubna.
Thank you, Hisham, and thank you to all our panelists for such an engaging discussion and for sharing your perspectives openly with us today. Thank you so much. So we now move in to the next part of today's session on how to apply the Africa Accelerator. So it's very easy. The first step is to visit the official website that you can see on the screen, or you can simply scan the QR code that will direct you to the website. Once on the website, you can just click on the Apply Now button that on the screen. This button will direct you to the application form. And then you can start completing the required sections and submit your application directly through the platform. If you need to review or any information during the process, you can easily press the back button and make the changes and move forward. Once submitted successfully, you will see the submission message, and we will start the selection process for the applicants. So that's it. We strongly encourage all eligible startups to apply and be part of this exciting journey and waiting for your applications. And now to the final part of today's session, which is the Q&A. Feel free if you still have any questions to drop it in the chat box. We started collecting some questions. If you can answer this question, Engineer Hisham. So the first question is, can African founders based outside the continent, such as those living in the US or Europe, still apply to the program?
Very good question. Of course, this program is focused on African startups. I would think this will be up to the selection committee at the end of the day, but I would also think that if you are doing something of benefit to Africa in one way or another, that targets the African continent as a market and have intentions of establishing an office, then it might be relevant that you can also apply. So I would encourage you to apply anyway, and we can see. And even if we decide not to include such startups, we will figure out a way to involve you one way or another, perhaps as potential partners, as part of the network, because it's all about global networking. So we encourage you to apply in any case.
Okay. Second question is, what level of commitment is expected from selected startups throughout the program?
Excellent question. The main commitment, of course, is that you are committed to launch your company. So we are really looking for founders who want to launch a business, want to make money while doing something of benefit. So this is the mindset that we are looking for and the commitment we are looking for. This, of course, translates into also in being able to attend the sessions of the program, and it should be very easy to do that. The sessions will all be online. We will be held a couple of times each week throughout the program, and will be recorded. And the minimum commitment that we are looking to participate in the activities is an 80% participation at least.
Excellent. So the third question is, can startups with previous funding still apply?
Definitely, we do not rule out that you have received previous funding, as long as the selection committee can see that you will benefit from the program and will make an impact. This will be welcome as well.
Okay, another question. Do selected startups need to be legally registered in an African country?
I think there's two parts to this question. Do you need to be registered already or not? And I think this question also came up in the last session. We do not expect startups to already be legally registered at all, whether in Africa or elsewhere, because as part of the accelerator, if you are not, this is one of the things that we help you and support you in doing as going through that process. And so maybe that's that part of the question. Whether the registration of the company will be in Africa or not, I believe that the program will be requiring that you do establish an office in Africa if you already do not, if you already have an office elsewhere. Since, again, the answer to the question that was asked previously, maybe you're not in Africa, but if you're doing something for Africa, then this is what we're looking for. And if you do continue in the program, then we will expect for sure to establish an office in Africa somewhere.
Okay, great. I think this answer also the next question. Can non-African co-founders apply if the startups primarily serves Africa?
Yes. And so I think we answer that. And again, we really want to make this something of benefit. Even if you are not even planning to be relocating to Africa, one way or another, there can be a benefit, another startup doing something close or related benefits from what you're doing, and we can put you in touch and involve you in some way. So we want to hear from you all.
Great. So moving forward, are there any travel or physical attendance requirements for founders living outside Africa?
So the program is going to be all of the sessions of the program are going to be online. There are going to be 2 or 3 events, major events held at key milestones throughout the program, which are going to be held in specific countries across Africa. And we will be asking the startups participating at each stage to come to those events. And we will be facilitating that. We will be providing coverage for the costs to that as well.
Okay, two more questions we have. This accelerator program, is it open to ideation stage product? My team and I had an MVP from a hackathon wins. However, we need to rebuild from scratch using health standard.
Excellent question. So yes, typically in accelerators, we look at everything starting from ideation stage through prototyping stage to MVP stage. These are typically where startups are during acceleration programs. But I do encourage you to try, and so we do have the application window open until June. And so this is one of the factors of one of the criteria of selection is the progress that you have made to show your commitment, show your real skin in the game of actually starting, not just coming up with an idea and waiting for someone to move you forward. So I encourage you to use this time, if you are in the ideation stage, to start building something. There's many tools that are cheap and easy to use to at least build a prototype, make a demo of some sort. This will greatly increase your chances to be selected.
Okay, and the final question is, what is the maximum team members for each application?
Usually you have that question in the other way around. I don't think there's a maximum. I think the judging committee will look at the team, whether it's cohesive, whether it can work together. I don't think there's an upper limit. Obviously, if it's 100 people, you'll need to show why you need 100 people. Usually teams of 2, 3, or 4 founders is the sweet spot, but we've seen also startups that have more than that. So I don't think there's a rule about that. It's just going to be that you can convince us that this is the team that will work.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you, Hisham, and thank you everyone for joining us. And a special thanks to our speakers for sharing their time, insights, and reflections, and to all attendees for being part of the session. We hope to see many of your applications soon, and we look forward to continuing this journey. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.